Hey, and before we go any further, I just want to know how my mic sounds. Okay, thank you, Mr. Sandeep. Mr. Sandeep said, I'm loud and clear. Ms. Mills was welcoming people in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just want to say hello to everyone. I want to say hello to my team, Mr. Sandeep, Ms. Mills. I don't know if you're here yet, Ms. Haley. I haven't seen you come through, but when you get here, you know. And hello to the interns, Miss Beth, Miss Vina, Star Wars girl. Let's see. Am I missing anyone? You guys. I see you, Miss Haley. Thank you. Okay, so I do want to shout you all out too, and I'm not going to get everyone, but I see Tanya on the go. I see Low Key Lucky, Matthew, Brenda, Sabrina, Jerry, Jeff, Becky, Christy. If I forgot you, I'm sorry, Goodwill. I see you. And Taffy. Welcome our new members, Taffy. We have two. Let's see, Taffy and Sabrina Dixon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, everybody, I'll get to the rest of you, but let's get going. We got some stuff to do. Last time we talked about modifiers 50, 51, and 59. We're going to revisit that today. But first, let's talk about the goals. The goals of this entire session, the entire 4-week session, is to learn about common CPT modifiers. We're going to learn about some common HCPCS Level 2 modifiers and hopefully bring you one step closer to medical coding mastery. Now, last time we talked about modifiers 50, 51, and 59. Today, we're going to talk about modifiers 58, 78, and 79. So I got a poll for you. I want to know, how comfortable are you with coding modifiers 50, 51, and 59? A, I'm confident. Oh, type your answers in the chat. A, I'm confident. B, I'm okay. C, I'm so-so. D, I need help. Or E, what are modifiers? And if you say, what are modifiers, you might be our I2MC students. So I want to know if you're here. So if it's E, I want to know. And this is no judgment zone, right? Yeah, we're not judging. Go ahead, type your answer in the chat. And while you're doing that, I just want to shout out Run with Britters. Did you have a different name before? Let me know. I remember you, Matthias or Matthias. Welcome. Welcome, Euphemia. And if I don't call you, it might be because I really can't pronounce your name. But I'm going to say Kira. That's the last part of your name. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Baylor or Byler or Baller. Welcome. Welcome, Chair Bear. All right. So a lot of people said C, so. I'm locking in on that. And the person that said E, welcome, welcome, welcome. And modifiers are the 2-character code that is often appended to a code, a CPT or HCPCS Level 2 code, and they just kind of modify the story of the code. It gives you a little more context. All right, so thank you for that information. It helps me. And I am glad that we're reviewing modifiers 50, 51, and 59, and I'm going to take credit for that. I'm going to say I'm the reason why you all don't feel 100% or close to it. All right, so last time I gave you this analogy or this scenario of Mrs. Thompson versus Mr. Joe. Fix it, right? Joe's the handyman. Mrs. Thompson is the homeowner, and basically the handyman is the plaintiff. He said, hey, I didn't get paid my full amount. He says, hey, Mrs. Thompson, you owe me $3,000. And he brought it to court because he wanted the court to decide, make the decision. Like, is he entitled to more money? So essentially, he said, hey, you owe me $3,000. And basically, I quoted you $1,000 per fence. And Mrs. Thompson said, hey, I only got one fence, so I gave you $1,000. So the judge said, hey, is it one fence? So what I did was I used that one fence scenario to kind of explain that modifiers say that one fence is different, right? Because if you look at the fence surrounds the house. And the brown fence is essentially in the backyard. The white fence is in the front yard. That's different. Those are two different yards, two different parts of the same yard. Are you all with me? All right, so it's, this is not one yard. You got a front yard and a backyard. Excuse me, it is one yard, but there are different parts to the yard. Let's put it that way. And because there are different parts to the yard, then they have some difference, right? In fact, this fence is in the back right part of it's the right part of the backyard. That's the name of that fence. And the fence on the other side, directly across, is on the back left part of the yard, right? And then the fence at the back is at the rear of the yard. So there are three different parts of the yard. And let's not forget about this front fence. It's in the front part of the yard. So every part of the yard has a name, and they're all different, right? So this gentleman, Mr. Joe, Fix-It Handyman, said, hey, those are four different fences. And it might make sense to Mr. Joe because Mr. Joe does this all the time. He knows the mechanics of each fence, right? He knows that the fence on the left is actually an entirely different fence. He had to use an entirely different fence on the right, right? They might look the same, but one, like you can't put a right fence on the left side. You can't put a right fence on the back side. Well, you can, but if you want to do a good job, you probably shouldn't. But we don't know that. We're novice. To us, that looks like one fence. And Mr. Joe wasn't clear, but he is correct. They are different fences. And if you look at the rear fence, there's even a door on that fence. So these are different fences because they're in different parts of the yard and they have different names. But they're in the same yard, but different parts of the yard. And that was the point I was trying to make last time. And I'll be the first to admit that it was probably a weak demonstration. But let me put things in perspective. You can have the same yard and different parts of the yard can coexist, like the digestive system. It's one system, right? The digestive system begins at the mouth and ends at the anus, but it's the same system. And when you talk about it, right, the mouth has its own procedures. The esophagus has its own, the stomach has its own procedures, the small intestines, the large intestine, the rectum, and the anus all have their own procedures and their own names too. But they're still the same digestive system. They're all a part of the same digestive system. And what makes it different, they're in different parts of the digestive system, just like different parts of the yard. So in general, if it has a separate or different name or even a different code, it could be considered different. And modifier 59 is, I think, where we had most of the confusion, because we needed to know what is different about a procedure. And where do you get this language from, Mrs. J, about different modifier? Well, I got it in Appendix A. In Appendix A, they define all of the modifiers, and I'm always referencing modifier 59 just to make sure, but I clarified it for you. And let me make it bigger for you. Modifier 59 is different if a different session or procedure or surgery took place, like a different encounter, right? A different site or organ system, a separate incision or excision, a separate lesion, a separate injury, and finally, procedures not normally carried out at the same time. So if it's not normally carried out at the same time, it's different, and you use modifier 59. Okay, are you all with me? And just to drive home all three, we know modifier 50 is used for bilateral. That means the procedure took place on both sides of the body. The same procedure happened on both sides of the body. Modifier 51 means that you have multiple procedures. Modifier 59 means that multiple procedure is different. Okay? So here is the gem. The gem is anytime you have multiple procedures happening at the same time, it's going to be modifier 51 unless it's bilateral or different. Okay, I'm quiet because I want to let that marinate just for a moment. Are you all with me? Okay, Kim said yeah. So that main point, I think if you always remember, if you just can remember, it's always 51 unless it's bilateral or different. Now I have something else for you. Now this is something, this is where, like, once you really get that down, knowing these little tips is going to be priceless when you take your medical coding exams. All right, so when you have a bilateral procedure, right, you do not append a bilateral procedure to an add-on code, never, right? So if you just know that, then that will give you an advantage. You also don't append modifier 51 to an add-on code. That's just a no-no. Modifier 59 can be appended to an add-on code. Here's something else. 50 is appended to any bilateral procedure. So if it's bilateral and the code language doesn't specify that you can use the code for multiple procedures, you can use bilateral modifier 50. 51 is never appended to a first procedure, and so too is 59. You never append this to a first procedure. We'll just let that marinate. And remember, when you have multiple procedures, it's always modifier 51 unless it's bilateral or different. Now, these might not make sense right now, but they're going to make sense momentarily, right? And also remember this, modifiers, they either increase the payment, decrease the payment, or they're informational and they just tell the whole story. All right, now let's go ahead and let's practice modifiers 50, 51, and 59. You all ready? Thank you, Britters. All right, true or false? A surgeon performs a bilateral carpal tunnel release on the wrists during the same operative session. Appending modifier 50 to the procedure code is appropriate to report the bilateral service, true or false. Now, this is going to be more simple than the rest, but we're going to kind of get our bearings and get warmed up. All right. Good job answering, everyone. I'm not telling you if it's correct or not, but good job. I love it. Hi, Delicia. Good seeing you. Hi, Becky. All right, everybody. And you all said it. The answer is true. Yes, it's true. Now we're going to pick up the pace and we're going to make the complexity just a little more complex, just a little more. All right, a physician performs a bilateral screening mammography and the CPT code descriptor already states bilateral. It would be appropriate to append modifier 50 to indicate the procedure was performed on both breasts. True or false? What say you? Okay. And you all read that very well. The answer is false. Here's why. When the code descriptor indicates that bilateral or the word mammographies in that code descriptor, then no modifier 50 is necessary. That would be overcoding. All right, so Mr. Sandeep, you saying you can't hear me? Okay. 1 second. All right. Can you all hear me? All right. Can you all hear me? All right. Thank you, Star Wars Girl. Someone can. Mr. Sandeep, if you cannot, can someone type in the chat to Mr. Sandeep? That's absolute medical coding. Let's see. And just let him know that it might be on his end. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good job, everyone. Great job. All right. Here's the next one. During the same operative session, a surgeon performs 3 separate procedures. Generally, modifier 51 should be appended to the procedure sequenced first, true or false? Okay. And the answer is false. False. Remember, modifiers 51 and 59 may only be appended to a secondary code, secondary or tertiary. All right. Good job. This is a aha moment, everybody. Okay. A physician excises a lesion and during the same session performs a separate biopsy on a different lesion at a different anatomical site with documentation clearly supporting the separate sites. When no more specific modifier applies, appending modifier 59 to the biopsy code to indicate a distinct procedure service is appropriate. True or false? What say you? Okay. Good job. You all got that. True. We saw all this stuff. We saw lesions. We saw distinct. It was a lot of different things going on. So modifier 59 may always be assigned for different lesions. That is a big key word. Okay. Good job. All right. So we're going to switch it up just a little bit. Now we got some codes here. And you know what? If you don't have to open your book, don't. If you do, then go ahead. A 67-year-old, no, I'll do it the way AMCI does it. All right, so if this is your first time here, we read the last sentence first and the answers. Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? A, 47562, 4959251 modifier. B, 4756251 modifier. 49592C, 49562, 4959259 modifier, and D, 4756259 modifier, 49592. A 67-year-old established patient presents with symptomatic cholelithiasis. I always cannot say this. Cholelithiasis. Lithiasis. Okay, you got me. And an incarcerated umbilical hernia during the same operative session. The surgeon performs a laparoscopic cholecystectomy followed by an open repair of the umbilical hernia. Both procedures are completed without complications. All right, I see some of you answering that question. I see you all answering it so quick, and I'm glad you had the confidence to do it, right? And don't let other people's answers sway you because you have to justify your own answer, and we do not judge whatsoever. So put your answers in the chat, and if you have an aha moment, let me know. That's right, Ms. Vina. Put your best answer in the chat, right? And 9 times out of 10 in these sessions, we're really trying to measure guidelines, right? So there you go. All right, so I'm going to work on the answer. And this is what I say to myself. Can you eliminate incorrect answers by applying rules? And if you look at these answers, you can. Remember the rule? Modifier 51 and 59 may only be appended to a secondary code. Right? So if that's true, B is wrong because multiple procedures modifier should not be on a primary code. Sorry, I couldn't get it down. So B is wrong. Also, 59 modifier is on D. It cannot be on a primary or principal procedure, right? That's a multiple procedure modifier, so it must be on a multiple procedure, the procedure that makes it multiple. And if you only have, the first one is never going to be a multiple procedure. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So we eliminated B and D because that is the rule. And that leaves us with A and C. A has a modifier 51 and the other, C, has 59. So the difference is, so the rule is it's always modifier 51 unless it's bilateral or something different. So we need to hone in on different. Are these two procedures different in any way? And it has to be a different session, procedure, or surgery, different site or organ system, separate incision or lesion, separate injury, or these procedures are not normally carried out at the same time. So we have a laparoscopic cholecystectomy. So that means they took a scope and they removed the you know what? I have a little brain thing. Oh my goodness. So they removed the stones? Yeah. Okay, so they removed the stones. Now, now the second procedure is an entire, thank you, that's a gallbladder. So the stones within the gallbladder. Okay, we're going to say the gallbladder was removed. Thank you so much. All right. Sorry, I get caught up in these terms and I'm reading them, but not actually, focused or honing in on what is actually taking place. So I'm reading the term, and it is the removal of the gallbladder. Then it's followed by the repair, an open repair of the umbilical hernia. That's totally different. This is the gallbladder, right? And then and this is laparoscopic removal of that gallbladder. And also, we have an open repair. So they're just basically repairing, they incised the patients. It's probably in the same region, you know what I mean? It's the same region because they're going through the abdomen, but they're just repairing an umbilical hernia, right? So there's probably just some suturing going on. Two different procedures, two different approaches. One is scopic, one is excision or incision. So these are two different procedures. Separate incision, different procedure too. So it's hitting two. So this is different. So I can get rid of A and I'm going to use C because modifier 59 says it's different. And somebody else says here, one is the biliary tract and the other one is the abdomen. Correct. Different body parts, different locations, although they went through the same way. One is, whenever you see laparoscopic, that means they went through the abdomen. And 9 times out of 10, if it's an umbilical hernia, they're going through the abdomen as well, but just different approaches. Very good. Good job, good job, good job, coders. All right. How do you feel? All right. Linda says she feels good. Anybody else? We got over 50 people in here. Okay, Delicia. All right, let me know how you feel, and we're going to move on to the next one. But the answer is C. All right. Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? A, 46255, 46220 51 modifier. B, 46255 51 modifier. 46220. C, 46225 46220 and D, 46255 59 modifier. 46220. Man, you all are going. I see that chat doing something. A 63-year-old established patient presents with chronic painful hemorrhoids. During the same operative session, the surgeon performs a hemorrhoidectomy of a single internal hemorrhoid column and excises an anal skin tag. Both procedures are performed through the same operative field and are separately reportable. Okay, coders, what say you? Okay, look at that. Ange said, I'm just going to give you the modifier. Okay. All right, good job, everyone. Hi, Yvonne. All right, so I'm going to just take another moment or two and allow you to get your answers in the chat. Okay. So, can you eliminate any incorrect answers by applying the rules? Absolutely. We can eliminate anything that's sequencing first modifier 51 and 59. And if you look at B and D, it's appended 51 and 59 on that principal code, that principal procedure. And that's just not that's incorrect. On site, you should eliminate that. Also, it's modifier 51 unless it's a bilateral or different procedure. So we know it's a multiple procedure, but we need to know, is this a different procedure? So let's go ahead and look at what makes a procedure different. Well, different session, different procedure, or surgery. Now, I would say that this removal, this hemorrhoidectomy of the hemorrhoid and the anal skin tags are different procedures. However, when you look at this last one, are these procedures not normally carried out at the same time? And that answer is no, because they are normally carried out at the same time. And the only way you would know that is you just kind of have to use a little, first you would have to use your A&P knowledge and a little bit of common sense, a little bit. Like, okay, this is a hemorrhoid and this is a skin tag, and they're basically in the same region. So let me go ahead and just eliminate this and let you know the answer is A. Okay, the answer is A. Now let me go ahead and show you. This is a skin tag and this is a hemorrhoid, right? So let's say this is a skin tag. So you got a skin tag in the same area as the hemorrhoid. Absolutely, they're carried out. They would be normally just carried out at the same time. There wouldn't be anything different. Okay, so no one had to, the doctor didn't have to use any special type of equipment to remove it, nothing different. So yeah, they would be normally carried out at the same time. So, but it is, the doctor can, code for it, but the modifier has to be a modifier 51. Yes, someone said, hey, is this going to be a playback? Absolutely. And I'll explain at the end of the session how you can get it. All right, so that's it. You all did an amazing job. I saw some of you have aha moments. So we're going to have to move on, and we're going to have to turn our attention to the other modifiers. But I want to leave you with this. Modifier 50 we know is bilateral, and modifier 50 is appended to any bilateral code. As long as the code language doesn't say it's bilateral, you can put a modifier 50 on any code, whether it's sequenced first, a primary procedure, or not. Whereas modifiers 51 and 59, they cannot be appended to a primary procedure. Okay, they cannot. And I think that's it. Oh, I wish I would have put modifiers 50 and 51 cannot be appended to an add-on code. So remember that. All right. Why does it say 51, 59? Come on, chat. All right, I'll fix that. All right, so 50 can be appended to an add-on code. All right. And finally, remember, it's 51 until it's bilateral or different. It's 51 until it's bilateral or different. And hopefully this didn't confuse you, but 50 and 51 cannot be sequenced first. 51 and 50 cannot be placed on an add-on code. And that's what I get for not checking. All right, so last thing I want to tell you, whenever you are assigning modifiers, if you're not sure which modifier to assign, apply and append all modifiers that are appropriate. And you're going to put the modifiers that have functional value, the ones that impact the money first, followed by the ones that just provide information. Yes, someone said 59 can be appended to an add-on code. Absolutely, it can. Okay. All right, so now we're going to turn our attention to modifiers 58, 78, and 79. You all ready? Let's go. All right. For those of you, if this is your first time, don't forget your definitions, your abbreviated definitions for your modifiers are on the front inside cover of your CPT manual. And don't forget about Appendix A. If you need more than an abbreviated definition, go to Appendix A. It's gold. Now, the common denominator between modifiers 58, 78, and 79 is they all occur during or pertain, put it this way, they all occur and pertain to the global period. So these procedures, these return procedures occur in the global period by the same physician or other qualified healthcare practitioners. So you'll append these modifiers whenever there is a secondary procedure, like a patient has a procedure, then there is a second procedure within a global period. Now, what is a global period? Well, a global period is the number of days that Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services has determined that a patient will need to recover from their surgery. And Medicare or CMS has given every single procedure in CPT a global period. Typically, if someone has a scopic procedure, like a laparoscopy or any kind of scopy procedure, the global period is 0. They said, hey, you don't really need any days, 0 to 10 days. All right. And the most extensive procedures are given 90 to 120 days, or that could have changed. I could be citing old global periods, right? But every procedure has a global period. And that means during that global period, let's say a person has a hysterectomy. If a person has a hysterectomy today, they've got 90-day global period. And during that 90 days, anytime that patient is seen for that condition, it's all bundled into that hysterectomy code. So the doctor doesn't get paid anymore. The doctor doesn't get paid because it all fell within the global period. However, there are circumstances that will allow a doctor to get paid, and that is modifier 58, 78, and 79. So let's begin with modifier 58. Modifier 58 is appended if during the global period the patient had a staged or related procedure, a staged or planned related procedure. And you're going to append that modifier 58 when that subsequent procedure was planned, right? The subsequent procedure is more extensive than the original procedure, or that subsequent procedure is therapy following a diagnostic procedure. And the key concept is that physician, and it's the same physician, expected another procedure might be necessary. And here are some examples. A patient has a diagnostic bronchoscopy followed by a planned lung resection. They're related. It's in the global period. So you'll need to append modifier 58 to that subsequent procedure. If a patient had an excision of a lesion followed by a planned skin graft during the global period, you're going to need to pin that modifier 58 to let the payer know, hey, this procedure is not a part of that other procedure. Don't bundle it. This doctor needs to be paid. And a staged reconstruction following trauma. So a lot of procedures you just can't carry out at one time, right? And I'm going to give you some example of some procedures that take stages. But remember this, modifier 58 starts a new postoperative period or new global period. Now, here are some more examples of modifier 58. The biopsy performed, cancer confirmed, a wider excision planned, all use modifier 58 because another procedure, related procedure, a planned procedure is going to come behind these procedures. And also staged procedures like a cleft palate. That is a very complex procedure. We may be able to see a cleft palate from the exterior of the patient. Like you can see a cleft in the lip. Often a person that has a cleft palate has a cleft lip. The palate is at the roof of the mouth. So that might require that they repair the palate first in one stage or one encounter, and then maybe allow some healing. And 30 days later, they're going to go in and do the lip. Hypospadias repair. That's when the urethra sits on the dorsal or on top of the penis. And that's such a sensitive part of the body that they do that in stages. They move that urethra, the hole where the urine exits the body, they move it in stages so that it doesn't disrupt normal function of that body part. So those are staged procedures, and they are often planned. All right. So it takes planning. That's your key word. Now that we know what modifier 59 is, the opposite of 59 is modifier 78. The opposite of modifier 58 is modifier 78. All right. So modifier 78, the key words are unplanned return. to the OR for a related procedure. So you're in the post-operative period, you're in the global period, then you have an unplanned return. That patient's returning to the OR. The return was unplanned. The reason for the return is related to the original procedure, right? And it's in that global period. So the key concept is something went wrong or unexpected. The patient developed a complication or problem related to that original procedure, and it required another procedure. Examples: postoperative hemorrhage, postoperative infection requiring drainage, wound dehiscence requiring repair. And remember this, modifier 78 does not start a new postoperative period. So not 78, unplanned return to the OR. Now, modifier 79. You're still in the global period, but you have an unrelated procedure in that postoperative period. You're going to append modifier 79, that patient's in the postoperative period. Let's say they broke their leg, right? They're in a 90-day postoperative period. Then they break their arm. A new procedure is performed. That new procedure is unrelated to the broken leg, right? They got a whole different injury, right? So the key concept, the patient happened to be in a postoperative period, but that second procedure has nothing to do with the first one, okay? And just so you know, modifier 79 starts a new postoperative period. That leg has one postoperative period, and then that arm, that one has another. All right, so someone had a question. What if it's not related to the procedure? Do I put 78? You put 79. Good question. All right, so here you go. Let's go ahead and look at them all together. 58, modifier, the key word is planned. That means they planned it or is staged. Modifier 78 is unplanned. All right, so it's a related problem or complication. And modifier 79 is unrelated. Okay? And I would just say 58 and 78 are opposites. All right. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's go ahead and test your knowledge. Let's do it. Okay, coders, which modifier should be appended to the repair procedure? A, 58, B, 78, C, 79, or D, 24? A surgeon performs a partial colon resection. 8 days later, during the postoperative period, the patient develops a wound dehiscence, and the same surgeon returns the patient to the OR to repair it. What say you? Go ahead, type your answers in the chat. All right, so those answers are coming through. And here's what happened. I'm honing in on my modifier focused keywords. Number one, this patient had a colon resection. 8 days later, during that post-op global period, patient developed wound dehiscence. And yeah, okay, was it planned, unplanned, or unrelated? It's definitely related, so we're getting rid of the 79. It was definitely not planned, so the answer is B. It's unplanned. And I think you all got that. Outstanding. Outstanding. Okay, let's move on. Which modifier is appropriate for the second procedure? A, 78, B, 79, C, 58, or D, 51? A patient undergoes a diagnostic surgical procedure that confirms malignancy. The same surgeon schedules a more extensive therapeutic procedure 12 days later during the global period. What say you? Go ahead, type your answers in the chat. Okay, coders, what say you? Well, here are my modifier focused keywords. Well, we had a diagnostic surgical procedure. Then the doctor schedules a more extensive procedure, and it was done during the global period. So these are related, but the key word is it was planned. They're planning. When you're scheduling something, that's planned. It's not unplanned, right? So it's related, it's planned. So the answer is going to be 58. And a lot of you said C. Way to go, way to go, way to go. Yep, they nailed it like a pro. They're saying that in the chat and just encouraging you along the way. I love it. I love it. All right. Which modifier should be reported on the cholecystectomy? A, 58, B, 79, C, 78, or D, 58? During the postoperative period of a right knee arthroscopy, the same physician treats the patient for an unrelated condition by performing a cholecystectomy. Okay, what modifier should we put on the cholecystectomy? A, B, C, or D? What say you? Good job, good job, good job. Okay, well, here are my modifier focus keywords. We had a right knee arthroscopy. This is an unrelated condition and a cholecystectomy. Yeah, they're not related. And it wasn't planned, it wasn't unplanned. It is unrelated. And if it's unrelated, B. Outstanding, outstanding. Okay, great job, coders. You all are nailing it in that chat. Thank you so much, team, because they are encouraging you every step of the way. They are crushing it. They are AMCI amazing. All right, question. What is the effect on the global period? And fact, I don't really, whenever it's a word, I like to read it all. So let's go ahead and read it. A surgeon performs a procedure and appends modifier 78 for an unplanned return to the OR to treat a complication. What is the effect on the global period? A new global period begins. B, the global period is extended by 90 days. C, the original global period continues with no reset. D, the global period is canceled entirely. What is it? If it's an unplanned return to the OR to treat a complication related to a procedure, what does it do to the global period? You know what? You know what? It's C, because the original global period continues because it's really related and pertinent to that initial procedure. All right? It is directly related or caused by that original procedure. Great job. Okay. All right. Which of the following best distinguishes modifier 58 from modifier 78? A, modifier 58 is for unrelated procedures, while 78 is for related procedures. B, modifier 58 is for staged or planned procedures, while modifier 78 is for unplanned returns to treat complications. C, modifier 58 requires a return to the OR, while 78 doesn't. Or D, modifier 58 does not reset the global period, while 78 does. Okay, coders, I see you. You all are rocking that chat. You are. And majority of you said B. Modifier 58 is for staged or planned procedures, and 78 unplanned. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. All right. A patient is in the 90-day global period following a coronary artery bypass. The same surgeon returns the patient to the OR to treat post-operative bleeding, appends modifier 78, and is reimbursed. 11 days after that bleed procedure, the patient again requires an unplanned return to the OR for a related complication by the same surgeon. From which date is the global period measured when determining whether this third procedure still falls within the postoperative period? Is it A, the date of the second procedure, because each return resets the clock? Is it B, the date of the original bypass, because modifier 78 does not start a new global period? Is it C, the date of the third procedure, since complications carry their own independent global period? Or D, there is no global period since modifier 78 has been applied? I know I'm moving a little fast, but I am aware of the time and I wanted us to get it all in. And some of you kept up and I love it. So I'm going to show you, if you need to watch the playback, I'm going to show you how to do that momentarily. Okay, so the answer is B. Absolutely. That date of that original bypass, because modifier 78 does not start a new global period. If it's related to that original procedure and it's unplanned, and it's unplanned. It's an emergency and it's related to that original one. Absolutely. It stays in the same global period. That's right, Star Wars girls. They are amazing. And I believe this is the last one. All right. A patient with a hysterectomy 2 weeks ago, the same physician treats the patient for a prolapsed bladder. The physician is unsure whether to use modifier 58 or 79. Which reasoning leads to the correct modifier? Is it A, modifier 58, because the procedure is staged and planned, and staging always takes priority over the relatedness? B, modifier 79, because the determining factor is that the procedure is unrelated to the original surgery, regardless of whether it's staged. C, either modifier is acceptable because both reset the global period. Or D, neither applies. An unrelated stage procedure during a global period cannot be separately reported. What say you, coders? All right. I think I got stung by a bee. Those last few were all B. All right. So yes, modifier 79, keyword unrelated. Unrelated. You all did it. So I want to end things by reviewing. Modifier 58 is planned or staged, right? More extensive and therapy following surgery. Modifier 78 is unplanned. Now that problem is related to the original, but a complication took place and it required that patient to return to the OR. And modifier 79 is unrelated. It's a whole different condition or a different surgery. How do you feel, coders? Someone said they're taking screenshots. Go ahead, take your screenshot. And next, I'm going to show you how to watch the playback. But first, I just want to let you know where we are. Modifiers have generally these nine categories, and we've already discussed multiple procedures. We've discussed altered services. We've discussed evaluation and management. Return to the OR is what we've discussed today. So coders, you are equipped. You are indeed equipped. And team, I want you to do me this favor. Can you please put in the chat this link? Because people have been asking for it. So that's one of the advantages to either being in the MCDC course or coming to class, because you get little things like this. So this is an AMCI, it's a cheat sheet. Trust me, it's not a big deal. Things are, kind of arranged. It's kind of big, so some people like it, but it's we have one in the course if you're in the MCDC course, and I've seen plenty of these, and this really isn't anything different. But if you want it, the link is in the chat. All right. Now, let me continue on. And I just want to remind, if you're an MCDC student here, thank you so much for coming, but definitely use your Lucene. That is your AMCI AI coach. Yeah, that's us behind there. And so if you have questions, we're there to answer. And also we help you work out your medical coding scenarios step by step by step. All right. So today we've discussed the patient came back. They had surgery. They came back within the global period. Next week, we're going to talk about who performed the service. And this will be an interesting discussion. So I do want to let you know that I plan to be here an extra 30 minutes because this is going to be a longer discussion and it's going to be good. So definitely be here next week. And I won't feel so rushed to get the information to you. All right, coders. So if you want to watch the playback, go to our channel. And if you are here, please like this lecture if you liked it. If you like it up. And when you go to our channel, click on live. There's a live button at the top. And then you'll see the image for this session. You're going to see all of the images and they're all in the week, the appropriate week. Just click on it and you can see the playback. The same place that you go to RSVP, it's the same exact link for the playback. So with that said, we do have a survey. I don't ask much, my YouTube students. So if you can let me know how this class went, that's all. And it's a short survey. And if it's long, put on that survey. This survey is too long, but it's a short survey and it really helps us help you. It helps us deliver unique content. So I don't think you get this kind of instruction anywhere else. I don't think anyone else is teaching this way because really comes from us, right? So, it helps us help you. And it helps us to be the best we can be. So you can be the best that you can be. All right, so that's all I want to say. I want to say thank you to my team, Mr. Sandeep, Miss Haley, Miss Mills. I want to say thank you to the interns, Miss Beth, Vina D, Star Wars Girl. If I missed anyone, please forgive me. I want to say, you know what? You all can just cut me off. I'm going to say Thank you, DC Kicks. I remember you from last time. Loki, Lucky, Matthew, Brenda, Sabrina, Jeffrey, Jerry, Jeff, Becky, Christine, Run Britters, Mathia, Euphemia, Chair Bear, Delicia, Cyber. I'm not going to remember all of you, but Tanya Cox, Kira, Goodwill, Orlica, Nazir, Kim or Kimmy, Deborah, Yvonne, and I see Bipolar. Thank you. And you know what, Kira, I apologize. I can't say your first part. So if you want the screen bigger, you should make sure you're not using the link for the mobile device. The person who said that is using the mobile device. So make sure you click on or select, because there are two, one for your not laptop, but your your desktop or laptop, and the other for your mobile device. All right. Don't forget to fill out this survey. Let us know how we did. And thank you. Behind New Certi. Okay, I tried just now. Orlica, I think I said you. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
4,000 exam passers and free classes at AMCI. Learn to code straight from home or on the road at AMCI.